the hunting lobby lobbied for an animal that they could actually hunt, a wild animal, and they wanted to bring in the deer. Well, the other islands having access deer, and they decided that that wouldn't be a good idea to bring access deer here. They're larger animals, and so they eat more. The black-tailed deer is smaller, and it just seemed a better fit for Kauai. Now, they brought in the black-tailed deer and seeded them in this area, thinking that they were going to control the numbers. But nope, they've done quite well, and they now have extended their range up into other areas in Waimea Canyon. They're not as sure-footed as the goats, and so occasionally you will come upon one that falls, trips and falls. The goats fall too. And actually, every once in a while you'll see a goat on the beach because they fall on the cliffs, they fall in the water, and they end up getting washed up on the beach. Poor little goats. Coming up on the Pali Coast now, the Pali o Pali, which means the cliffs in Hawaiian. No cars, no roads. First beach we get to off the right side is called Honopu, and you can see there is a rock arch that goes up over the beach. It's called the Honopu Sea Arch, and it's about 60 feet high. It connects the two halves of the beach. Now this is where they shot scenes with Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Bringing the nose to the right now, open ceiling sea cave, and also the beach park called Milili'i, which is only accessible by boat. Left side, beautiful view of Honopu and the rock arch. Also the valley, known as Honopu Valley. Honopu was used as a burial valley by the people who used to live along here, the Nepali tribe. This is where they buried their ruling class. The reason why is because this valley is very, very difficult to get into. Early Hawaiians believed their chiefs, their kings, held power in life, but also death. That power was called mana, and it had to be protected, so it wouldn't be stolen or taken away, even after that person had passed. And so they would place those remains in inaccessible places like Honopu. Next beach up is called Kalalau Beach. This is where the main campground is located. Also where the trail ends. The Kalalau Trail starts up at Ke'e and goes for 11 miles to Kalalau. So 11 miles in, 11 miles out. This is now Kalalau Valley. This is the largest valley on the Pali Coast. and where most of the people live. Oh, the people. So not a big population. They estimate at its height probably about 500 or 5,000, and that's for the whole Nepali. Of course, limited to the amount of usable land, to farmable land, and they did use terracing extensively up and down the shoreline, that to increase the amount of land they could bring into cultivation. We know this because this area has had several archaeological surveys, and so many of this is still visible. Because it's made out of stone, and so not stone structures or anything like that, but rather stone terraces, irrigation canals, perhaps some footpaths. All still here. This is called Crawler's Rock off our right side, and it's known for its scariness, lots of exposure. Beaching in now for Hanakoa. This little valley is halfway on the Kalalau Trail, and so used as a halfway point stopover for folks who don't want to do the whole trail in one day. I'll overnight here and do the rest of the trail the next day. There's also a nice little waterfall in the back that allows for a refreshing dip at the end of a long, hot day of hiking. Next valley up is called Waihuakua. And then Ho'olulu. And this is where a lot of the sea caves, you'll find a lot of these sea caves situated.
Are there more waterfalls in the winter or the summer?
I would say there are more waterfalls when it's raining or right after it's raining, and that could be summer or winter. I guess what you're asking me is there a rainy season? And I think they do consider a winter time as the rainy season. However, I've seen winters be very dry here, and then also very wet, and then vice versa. I've seen summers be very wet, and then alternately dry. So I'm not sure in the period that I've been here if you can really nail it down as to whether it's winter or summer.